lower deck of the Lazy Daze Retreat's main lodge, and you can see down below us, Guide Brian has got his boat pulled up on the beach next to the dock. Rollie and Art are on board, and we're about to take off in search of walleye here in the Northport area of the very upper Columbia River. Well, here we are in the very upper Columbia, practically sitting on the border of Canada right now. I'm with Brian Day, and Brian has brought us up to this part of the river fishing for walleye. And Brian, you called this what, the boundary?
Yeah, we're right on the Canadian border, and we call it the boundary area.
And we're fishing here in this kind of soft water off the main current in about 25 feet of water. Vertical jigs. And you're using what, 3/8 ounce?
3/8 to ½ ounce.
To get down, depending on the current. And I notice you have, what, are these 7-foot rods that you're using for vertical jig?
6.5.
6.5 feet. And I noticed on the rod I'm using, you've got braid tied right to the jig.
Yes.
That gives you a great sensitivity to even a very subtle bite.
Yeah, and a lot of people will tip it with a monofilament, and we just choose not to.
Right. And it works just as well. And I notice we're using skirted jigs, 3/8 ounce jigs with a variety of colors on their heads, and then tipping them with a worm. And yes, that's the way to go up here in this part of the Columbia, eh?
Yeah, just don't be afraid to swap out colors.
Always experiment with color. All right. Well, we're just going to drag these jigs around and do some jigging and see what we can turn up here on the upper Columbia River, just north of Northport.
Yes, sir.
The sun's starting to peek out a little bit here in this boundary area. Snow's slacked off some, but we're thinking about moving a little bit further downstream. We've had a few bites here, but action's not fast enough for Brian. He thinks we might be able to find some more hungry fish in a different area here on the upper Columbia. Well, we made our move, and what did you call this little big, like, smoothback eddy here?
We call it Deadman's Eddy.
Deadman's Eddy. And what kind of depth were you at now here?
We're in 20 right now, but we'll get down to the 28 to 30, 35 foot depth.
Great. Well, I can see why this is a popular spot. It's kind of protected, a little smoother water.
Snow.
Yeah, it got out of the snow a little bit. Well, good. Let's see if there's some hungry fish here. Now we're here, what I'm still calling early spring, but we had pretty good snow going there for a while, Brian. And but things change on the river as you move through the season. Is that right?
Yeah, typically springtime of the year, we're basically fishing at resident fish. They're pretty much here all year round. Wintertime is notoriously slow wherever you go. So,
well, what do you know?
there's something big.
How about that? There's something got a hold of Brian's jig. Let's see what we got here.
You need the net? Yeah.
Friend, you want the net?
Let's see what it is.
Okay.
Tell you what you could do, Rollie, is maybe move my rod.
Okay.
so we don't get him tangled up.
You got a rainbow?
No.
No.
Oh boy, look at that.
Look at that.
Suckers.
Big golden eye. That is a big one too. Yeah, they like those crawlers and
Yes,
jigs.
they do.
Well, it's encouraging. They're down there. Something's eating.
We got to see a rod bounce.
There you go. Yeah, and a typical winter fishery, you slow down. We do a lot of jigging. Of course, up here it's really tough a lot of times to vertical jig, so we do what my brother calls it speed jigging. You know, you keep it a little, you know, back behind the boat, contact with the bottom, and as far as colors, just normal colors, but don't be afraid to change out quite a bit. And then when the
Now,
water
when you say, I'm sorry, Brian, when you say normal colors, what would you consider that?
greens, yellows, blues, purples.
Okay.
You know, just the whole spectrum, basically.
The goal of battery systems is to provide the best products combined with the most efficient service at competitive prices. I've found their people live up to this, so don't buy anything without talking to them. You should make their batteries and accessories your choice to power your vehicles and boats. This is Dave Graybill, and I choose battery systems to keep me running onshore and on the water. To find a battery systems product expert in a location near you, log on to batterysystems.net.
Boating is something the whole family can enjoy, and it's surprising how affordable a new boat can be from Bob File Boats and Motors. Stop in today and take a look at the largest selection of boats in North Central Washington, including top names, Bayliner and Tahoe. Bob File Boats and Motors can help you find that boat that fits your needs. And whether it's for fishing or just a ride on the water, you can be sure your new boat will provide hours of fun for years to come. Visit the boating experts today. Bob File Boats and Motors on the Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee, the place to buy a boat.
And then when the water starts warming up, we really don't change a lot. We get a little faster.
Yeah.
You know, move a little faster. We'll bottom bounce where we can. When you bottom bounce on this part of the river up here, you know, most typical speeds, mile and a quarter. We're in the current bottom bouncing. We might 2.5, 3.5. I've seen it 4.5 miles an hour, and we're just fishing the current lines. The best time on this water up here is, of course, when everything levels out in the lake down south, and this levels out, then it's pretty easy to limit out here. Nothing real big. You know, you might get the odd 5, maybe a 10-pounder, up to 10, but normally they're just eater fish. You know, 16 to 18 inches, and the odd one coming in at 2.5 pounds.
Now, when you say it levels off, when they really kind of are at full pool and they're stopped dumping so much water down over coulee, and about what time of year is that?
It'll probably be the first part of June.
Okay.
Probably another 2 or 3 weeks we'll start fishing south. We'll go down and fish the lake because they're coming up, they're moving up.
Yeah.
A lot of our fishing we do down there. And when I say the water level's out, what a lot of people don't understand about this area is if the lake's low, that don't mean we're low up here. Last year the lake was really low and we were flooded up here. We just have a little spot in this river that holds water back, and the dams do their part of that too. But when I say the level, when the lake level levels out, this part of the river, and this is actually one of the few free-flowing rivers, part of the Columbia River that's left. You know, there's not a lot of control over it. So when I say level out, the lake comes up, it kind of stabilizes. The current goes down, much more friendly as far as walleye fishing.
Okay.
And then the best time, what I really love is, July, August, September, October. Them are really good walleye months.
Okay.
Then once you hit school time, you might be the only boat out here fishing. And that's kind of neat.
Yeah,
but,
we don't have a lot of traffic out here today.
No. And just fish and change up.
Fish and change up. There you go. Always experiment a little bit.
Yes.
Well, that's great. I hope the next time I see a rod bounce, we got a different sort of golden eye on the end.
There you be. There you be.
Well, Brian was just talking about how he catches salmon, and look what happened. Looks like we got a walleye going on here.
Ling,
It's a ling. Okay. He's talking about how we get these burbot up here, or what they call freshwater ling. Let's take a close look at that guy. Look at that critter.
There's your ling, Art.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is that a usual size?
This one's probably a little on the small side. And I had a guy told me how to clean these, so I'm going to throw it in the live well.
Well, good. Yeah, we'll try that later. Hey, he's fighting pretty good, isn't he?
That's what it is. That's a sturgeon.
Oh, we got a sturgeon.
A sturgeon. Here's another species.
Keep him in the water.
Look at that.
Something.
Little juvenile sturgeon. Well, Art, you hooked into something big there. That took some line.
Yeah. He was right
We have no idea what we've got here. We hooked that little juvenile sturgeon here a little bit ago, so.
Went back, told Mom a sturgeon, and now
Yeah.
everybody's pissed off. I wonder if it is a sturgeon. It feels like it. I've never caught a big sturgeon, so I'm kind of feeling like this is probably what this is.
Big walleye fight like that too, Art.
Do they?
Yeah.
Good. Well, big walleye would make me happy. I like to get a picture of a nice big walleye.
You're kind of liking that worm, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's a skirtless worm, isn't it? Just a piece of crawler on a jig head. Are you making any progress, Art?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, every time I make some progress, he takes it back. That might be a big walleye.
I think if I had to bet you a bunch of money, I'd say it'd be a sturgeon.
Yeah.
But I'd love to be wrong. That's usually how it happens. Take people fishing, they catch all the big walleye.
Yeah. Little head throbbing, a little shake.
Tighten up the drag a little.
You're gaining now.
He's coming up.
Coming up on the
He's coming
surface,
up.
getting.
There it is.
Yeah, I see it.
This person. That's the way they act.
Yeah, beauty. They're a lot.
Oh
Is that a sturgeon?
yeah.
Yep, that is one.
Got a foul
I
hook.
think I got a foul hook too.
Adds to the,
Is everybody in?
excitement.
Mine is still out. You may want to reel me up and then we can back down on him. Well, they're getting bigger, Art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the right fish.
We run downriver.
Downriver, yeah.
And we run, about 8 miles.
About 8 miles. And this you call
Little Dow's Eddy.
Little Dow's Eddy. And you were talking about how there are certain times a year, right after Memorial, you say this can just really get packed with fish.
Yes.
It's a nice area, and as you mentioned, we might be fishing as deep as 80 feet in here.
Well, we're having a tough time finding fish, so yeah, we'll go from 40 to 80 and just see if we can't pick up something.
No one is happy about having to repair a vehicle after an accident. However, I was very happy when I chose First Choice Collision Center when I needed this service. I can't say enough about how they treated me. Fast and friendly just doesn't say enough. They have amazing technology to make a damaged vehicle look like new. At First Choice Collision Center, you can expect modern service with old-fashioned values. That was my experience, and I'm sure it will be yours too.
No matter where anglers are heading, whether it's Banks Lake, Lake Roosevelt, or Rufus Woods Reservoir, they all make the same stop. That's at Big Wally's in Coulee City. Here they find everything they need for a successful day on the water: fuel, ice, a tackle shop, and people who know what they're selling behind the counter, state and tribal licenses, even a hot breakfast or lunch. When you're on the go, don't forget to stop at Big Wally's and visit their website at bigwallysfishing.com.
Now, we started at what you called the boundary,
Right.
which is right by the Canadian border,
Exactly.
which is how many river miles from here, roughly?
11, probably about 19.
About 19 miles. And so just between that stretch, we're fishing 3 different areas today on this part of the river at Northport, but there's probably a few pockets in between.
Yeah, once, like I say, the river, everything levels out, there's lots of areas to fish. Right now, there's just so much current, the water's low. It's not that you can't catch fish out of them. You're hung up all the time. It's rocky. It's just really tough fishing.
Right. Well, we're going to give it a go here and see how we do.
There it be.
I don't think it's an edible fish, but
There's a walleye, by golly.
Gotta start somewhere, guys.
You're right. Rollie, that's great. Way to go, hooking that guy. Yeah, that's it. Well, now Brian hooked up. Looks like we picked a good spot to move to, Brian.
Yeah.
That didn't take long to get a couple of fish. There he is. That's what we're after. Good job. Into the live well he goes.
Yeah, that's the
Good
problem.
deal.
Deep.
Another fish. Rollie just missed one, and now Brian's hooked up again. Here we are in 75 feet. Up down to 50.
Coming up.
Yeah, we're kind of working our way up from the deep to the more shallow, and this is definitely, we've seen a big improvement in the action up here. There you go. All right. There's another one for the live well.
He swallowed that.
Good job, Brian. Let's see what this one looks like.
Another little guy.
There he is. It's a walleye.
Yeah. Get going.
This one seems to be putting a little better bend in the rod, huh?
Yeah, he's just probably a tough 16-incher.
Well, that'd be nice to see today. There he is. That's great. Way to go. Big fish of the day. Good job, Brian. Yeah. Even in the wind, he can do it. Well, we're off the water, back at the resort, and that was a great day. Brian, I can't tell you really how much I appreciate you taking the time and showing us this spectacular country and the water that we saw. This is a whole different experience than what we call the Upper Columbia, which is, Brewster Pateras and anything above Priest Rapids Dam. This is a whole different kind of water up here. Very interesting.
Yep. One of the few places, like I was telling you today, that's actually, they call it the free, one of the small, I think there's 11-mile stretch that actually is not influenced by a lot.
Free-flowing Columbia.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And this water has a lot of character to it. A lot of currents, big currents.
Yes, it does.
We ran all the way up to we were looking into Canada,
Yeah,
essentially.
Another 2 minutes, we'd have the Border Patrol after us.
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we ran, we hit basically 3 spots today and found fish in all of them.
Yep.
And
Pretty much.
we got a really interesting mix from juvenile sturgeon to burbot to walleye, very interesting. Piece of water up here, and just, you know, sometimes it was kind of hard to pay attention to my rod because I was looking at the bald eagles flying around and just a beautiful countryside up here. And we experienced everything from bright sunshine that had us peeling our heavy layers off to a little bit of snow to everything in between. So we experienced it all today.
Yeah, that's a time of the year. You know, you don't know what you're going to get into as far as weather-wise out there, and actually fish-wise.
Yes, you know, and I was told fishing was very tough right now here on this part of the river. And what did we get? I think the last count, there were 7 walleye in the live well. 1 went back, and we even kept a burbot that might wind up being filleted.
There you be. There you be.
Well, Brian, now if someone wanted to come up here and have a similar experience, get to see this stretch of the Columbia, do a little bit of walleye fishing, how would they get in touch with you?
Of course, you got my cards. I fish out of Northport, Washington. My phone number's 509-732-6658. A lot of times I'm not there, but I always got an answer machine there, and I'd love to return your calls.
Perfect. And your guide service name is?
Day fishing.
Day Fishing, Northport, Washington.
There you be.
I keep wanting to say Northport, Washington, Day Guide Service. Brian not only knows where the fish are, it's great to spend a day on the boat with him too. So if you want to really learn this area of the river, the very upper Columbia, be sure and give Brian a call. You'll enjoy it.
Anglers are shifting gears and focusing on our popular winter fisheries, with Rufus Woods Reservoir at the top of the list. Whether you're after big triploid rainbow from a boat or to shore, Hooked on Toys in Wenatchee has everything you need to do battle with these prized trout. From power bait to trolling lures, Hooked on Toys has the biggest selection you'll find anywhere. Stock up for winter fishing fun at Hooked on Toys in Wenatchee, located at 1444 North Wenatchee Avenue, or online at hookedontoys.com.
Hooked on Toys!
Honey, you are not gonna believe this. I bought Pepsi Next.
What's Pepsi Next?
It's the new cola from Pepsi. It's got real cola taste, but 60% less sugar.
Real cola taste. 60% less sugar.
Yeah. I know.
It's unbelievable.
But this is the most impressive thing I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Oh, definitely. Let me get a camera. I've never had anything like it. My parents are gonna flip.
Yeah, they're gonna be so proud.
Introducing Pepsi Next. Drink it to believe it.
Are you getting this, honey? It's going viral.
Well, we woke up to snow on the ground this morning here in Northport, but actually the W hasn't shown up, and so things are really looking good for us today. We've got Justin Hotchkiss on board, and he's the local pro on catching big rainbow here on this stretch of the Columbia. And Justin, could you give Rollie kind of a rundown of what we're going to be doing today?
Well, this time of the year we got 2 options, streamers and stoneflies. So
I'm ready to go.
We're going to be swinging big sink tips, anywhere from 15 foot, about 100 grain sink tips, up to 250 to 300 grain sink tips. So right now it kind of depends on the weather. Sometimes as the sun starts to come out, the fish will move up on the little shallower bars, start feeding on the probably 2 to 6 feet of water. Days like today, we're probably going to catch them in a little deeper water, maybe anywhere
like steelhead then.
from 8 to 12. So what we're going to be doing is just kind of targeting these big seams out here. We'll be adrift, kind of hovering over all the spots, all the bars, the upwells, the downwells, the buckets on the flats and stuff like that. You know, what we want to try to accomplish when we get into a spot is fish as close as we can to the boat, because sometimes they're just right off the side.
If fish close to start with, work out.
Yep.
Are you quartering and you do your cast?
I'll do both. When I first start into a hole, I'll start casting upstream a little bit, so the streamer has the ability to get down right nice tight to the boat.
Yeah.
So we'll cast out, high stick a little bit, throw some mends in it to keep it straight.
Okay.
And then short strips back in. They're going to be chasing off of reds right now. Their big fish have been down there kind of clearing and getting ready. So they'll attack the streamer as a sculpin or a bullhead or anything like that. And then as we start working and advancing through the hole, we want to advance our cast farther and farther. Most generally, I've experienced that most of your strikes are going to be 40 plus on your cast. And I think it has to do with line angle as it's presenting itself through the columns. And then even greater distance than that. So we have the chance this time of the year in March to the biggest fish of the year come out this time.
You find I'm a good listener, and so you just kind of walk us through as we go, but I'm excited about this.
Oh yeah.
Justin and I've heard a lot of stories, so I'm anxious to see what we do.
Oh, this river produces massive rainbows, and hopefully we get to see some today.
Great.
Well, you guys got me excited. Let's go fishing. Nice. Just swinging it. Now you still have the streamer on, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, look at him go.
Got my brown bacon on.
Brown bacon. All right, Justin. That was the pattern that
They're
worked.
brighter than I expected. I saw him jump there. Nice fish.
Oh, there he goes. Hot dog. Give you guys some room. Look him hold out there in that current. Whoa. This is a really nice long drift through here, Justin. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll spend a whole half day down here. There's so much different water when they're really moved in this area.
Sure.
I mean, swinging it's the best way to cover the most possible water you can. And some days I'll spend 4 or 5 hours right here.
Just right here. Yeah. It's nice, easy throwing that heavy sink tip and just letting her swing. Yeah.
All this rock, this bar structure around, it's almost like a big fish park in here. You know, you got so many up wells, down wells, big buckets, and
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of holding area for them. So.
And good bottom for the kind of food they're looking for.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw a flash there. There he is. Look at that.
Thank you. Nicely done. Dave, you go ahead and get in there.
So I try to treat these fish just as if they were native steelhead.
Exactly.
You know?
Keep them in the water.
It has a steelhead look to it, doesn't it? Whoa, that's a pretty fish.
They're
Look
pretty
at
close
that.
to looking like a steelhead.
Isn't that?
Very nice.
Nice pink lateral line there, a little pink on the gill plate.
And these fish down in this area, they really, if you look at the back,
Yeah.
all the color of the rock in the water.
Oh, sure.
There's
they
all
just
this
got
real
invisible.
light tan kind of and gold
The back,
look.
it blends
Ooh,
into
the back just blends right into
You
them.
go adipose, look at the spots in the adipose. Gorgeous fish. What, 3 pounds?
He's probably 2.5,
3
pounds.
Well, Justin, what you're doing's working. Got a nice rainbow in the boat. Rollie hooked on one of your streamers. And right now, we've been doing kind of two things. One is swinging streamers, and one is swinging a stonefly pattern. Now, I noticed on the streamer, you tied a loop to let that streamer have a life of its own on the end of your line.
Yep.
That was pretty slick.
Yep.
And also now, what kind of rod and reel and line would you recommend people use when they're doing this kind of fishing on the Northport area?
Well, anywhere on the upper Columbia this time of the year, about the only thing you're going to find is stonefly and then bait fish in the water. So it's kind of a toss-up between fishing a stonefly pattern or a bugger pattern of sort. And the water that we're targeting is fairly swift. It doesn't look all that swift, but like this spot per se, we're at probably a 5 mile an hour downstream current here, and we're trying to target water anywhere from 2 to 12 feet. So depending on what side of the column they're in, if they're suspended, fishing the top of the column, anywhere from like a 15-foot type 6 down to a 300 grain 24-foot sink tip. You know, I haven't had much luck with over 300 grains and haven't had much luck with anything under 15 foot. So it just kind of depends on speed of water and the depth of water that you're trying to fish at that point. Rods, I recommend a heavy 6, that would almost be a 7 weight, up to an 8 weight. You know, at any given time, one of the fish that you could hook could be up to 10 pounds, and you know, so we're using 12-pound test, 6 to 8 weights, anywhere from 9 to 10-foot rods, single-handed. As the water starts to recede a little bit, and as they're preparing the lake for our runoff, switch rods, short spay rods work good. Anything with any type of a shooting head, 250 to 500 grains if you're throwing a spay rod, seem to work pretty well.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I'm using a 6. Rollie's throwing a 7, I believe, and it's putting the line easily where we need to be. So yeah, both of those cast these long, heavily weighted sections of line, and it seems to be working. It certainly caught a fish, and let's get busy and get another one.
This is Dave Graybill, the Fishin Magician, and when I fish the Upper Columbia and the Madhow Rivers for steelhead, I stay at the Lake Pateros Inn. I can tie my boat right up out front and be minutes from the action. The famous Miller Hole on the Madhow is less than 2 miles away. The rooms are comfortable and surprisingly affordable, and I'll be making the Lake Pateros Inn my base camp. To learn how to book your room at the Lake Pateros Inn, log on to lakepaterosmotorin.com or call 866-444-1985.
Your town Ford is kicking off the season with the best deals of the year. It's the Built Ford Tough Truck Event. Great power and amazing fuel economy means no compromises. And that's what you get in a truck built Ford Tough, like the Ford F-150 with a powerful and efficient EcoBoost engine. The power you want and the economy you need. Or Ford Super Duty with its amazing 6.7-liter Power Stroke turbo diesel. If you're looking for power, payload, towing economy, your town Ford's got the truck for you. Head to your town Ford in East Wenatchee.
Well, Rollie's hooked up again now. You said you had that clear up to your sink tip.
My sink tip.
That close behind the boat. Wow.
Really goes to show what Justin told us.
Yeah.
Let it fish it in all the way.
Man, I think that's going to be a good one too. You're almost back up to your sink tip now. I bet that fish makes another run on you.
Oh,
Ooh, look at that.
Am I foul hooked?
I think that's looks like the oval mouth trout.
Let's get him in then.
Is it carbon? No?
Big sucker.
Ooh, boy, that's a big one. Golden-eyed trout. Look at that guy.
Watch, I'm going to come up around.
Oh, we're scrambling here. Rollie hooked up behind the boat and it ran up clear past the bow. This could be a good one.
I'm trying to give you a run for your money. You almost made it 360 around the boat.
Yeah.
How are we going to tangle up the other motors? I see the fish right here.
There he is.
What's
Big whitefish.
Whitefish. Well, I'm on the bottom, guys.
A big one.
There's some smoking, if you want it.
Yeah.
Man, that is a big one. Look at that.
Golden Crockett whitefish.
This one's showing a little spunk, huh, Justin?
Yeah. Maybe it's not a scrap fish, huh?
Yeah. Rollie's doing his part to keep the river clean.
Yeah.
plenty of practice anyway.
Whoa!
I don't think it's a trout.
There he is. Another big whitey.
You know, you have about 4 of those, you would have a hell of a batch of smokers. That's a huge whitefish, guys.
Yeah, it is.
3 pounds? Yeah.
My, that is a big one. Holy moly. That's about as big as those guys get.
Yeah, think how fat. That's a nice one.
That's a big boy. That's
Boy,
for
that
sure.
is a beautiful fish. Look on flag. They're curious. Couple last year's.
Well, Justin, it's kind of nice to get inside and get out of the W a little bit. The wind, unfortunately, cut our trip a little bit short, because it must be blowing 30 right now out there.
With gusts probably a little higher.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it definitely will drive fly fishermen like us off the water, and probably even a hardcore walleye angler today. But before that happened, we really saw some interesting water. Rollie caught a beautiful resident rainbow. We longline released several others, caught potential state record whitefish. I mean, and what was interesting about it is the type of water that you showed us. These nice, big, long drifts that you can make. As we talked earlier, we're using very long and very heavy sink tips. Because we're on the main stem Columbia in a free-flowing section, and to get down where those fish are, that's what's required.
Probably about 90,000 CFS is what the main channel is pushing right now. So.
That's a touch or two over what we're used to on our smaller rivers in our area.
Right.
But, you know, we can't wait to get back up here and get back out on the water with you, Justin, because it's just a great experience, fish or not.
Right.
We learned a lot, and we just would love to get the opportunity to do that again.
And you know, that's spring in Washington. You never know what you're going to get. It could be 50, 60 degrees out, or it could be 30 and the wind blowing 30 and snowstorm like we saw this morning. And
oh yeah,
snow, rain,
a little bit of everything.
Cleared up, and then the wind, and so you just kind of never know what you're going to get. But this time of the year does produce some of the largest fish that you'll catch all season in the Columbia. Anywhere from 3 to 10 pounds. You know, everything's in pre-spawn. The opportunity for a wide variety of fish. And you got the native red bands. You got West Slope cutthroat. We got cutbow, which is a hybrid mix between the two of them. You got some of the residuals from the hatchery programs that they used to have in the late 80s. You got hatchery programs in Canada, and the fish do migrate through the system and come all the way back down. So you really never know what you're going to get, kind of a mixed bag of trout.
Sure, sure. But big streamers and big stone flies, I mean, you know, just looking at the types of bait we're using, you know, they're for big fish.
Oh yeah, big river, big sink tips, big bugs.
Oh,
everything's larger, big river.
You know, but you had me using a 6-weight for a while that handled, you know, one of the shorter sink tips, no problem. You go up to an 8-weight, and that handled the heaviest sink tip I think you had on the boat today, just fine.
Yep, oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's comfortable fishing right out of your jet boat, and you know, pretty easy doing if you're an adequate caster. Now, as I mentioned, Rollie and I both want to get back up here and fish with you. If someone else wanted to give this Upper Columbia big rainbow fishing a try, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, my name of my business is Far North Charters. You can look me up on the web at farnorthcharters.com. And you can get a hold of Lazy Daze. You can get a hold of Art. Art will get a hold of me. Yeah, email's good too.
Absolutely.
All the information's on the website at farnorthcharters.com.
That's it.
That's
that
probably about the easiest way to get a hold of me. And
exactly.
Updated fishing reports, fish pictures all the time. So
oh, good.
Give you something to be interested in.
Good. Good website is so helpful.
Yeah.
And that's a way to track Justin down I would highly recommend that you try this experience up here. Beautiful country, big water, and big fish.
So it looks like it's landing in its nest across the way. That's the idea.
I am here at the Lazy Daze Retreat, right on the shores of the beautiful Columbia River, almost at the Canadian border in Northport, Washington. I'm here with my host, Art Groban, his wife, Nina, and he have just shown us a wonderful experience here at the lodge. Art, I can't tell you what a surprise it was. Of course, not being here ever before, I didn't know what to expect. This exceeded my expectations by so many degrees, I can't tell you. It's just a beautiful place. Every time I turn around, I see something new in this main lodge. And you also, besides the main lodge that my good friend Rollie Schmitten and I have been staying in, you have several other properties here, and you can accommodate large groups, small groups, families, individuals for hunting or fishing or just to come up and enjoy this area. You can take care of anyone, and at an incredibly affordable rate. That's something that just astounded us. Now, how long have you been here in Northport with your retreat?
Well, we started in 2004 with our Columbia cottages that are in the town of Northport. So we have lodgings that are in the town of Northport as well as the lodgings that are riverside.
Yes.
And so we started in 2004 with the cabins, and have just kind of grown and added on since then.
Yes.
And we've got just a whole mix of lodging. The cabins in town, everything we have has kitchenettes or kitchens.
Yes.
So you can cook.
Every one of them.
Yeah, so people can come here. Their cabins start at $59 a night in town for two people.
Yeah.
And we go up from there. And so we've got family reunions that come. We have people that come for their anniversaries, honeymoons, hunters, fishermen, you name it. They come for all kinds of reasons.
And these little cabins in town are amazing. They would easily accommodate a small family because they have a loft that the kids love and bedrooms downstairs, everything you need. On up to, the Eagle's Nest next door, which is a very large A-frame, can accommodate a large group. And you will not believe what Nina produces in her kitchen here. I think we've gained 5 pounds and would stay and add another 5 if we had the option, because it's fabulous, fabulous. And Art, I wanted to thank you and Nina again. And this is the Lazy Daze Retreats. Now, if you go on the web and look that up, there's a hyphen between each of those. And if you do a search, Northport Lodging, you'll easily find them.
Right.
And I would encourage you to do that. They have a great website, and you can learn all about what's available here. Thank you very much again.
It was our pleasure. We really enjoyed you guys.